الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد فالسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. This is going to mark our second class, and it's going to be the last class in the book معنى الطاغوت, that is the risala of al-Imam al-Mujaddid Muḥammad bin Abdul Wahhāb رحمه الله عليه. So in our last class, the previous class, we were able to discuss from the beginning of the book to where the Imam rahmatullahi alayhi stated the verse that says قَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ أسوة حسنة في إبراهيم والذين معه إذ قالوا لقومهم إنا براء منكم ومما تعبدون من دون الله كفرنا بكم وبدا بيننا وبينكم العداوة والبغضاء أبدا حتى تؤمنوا بالله وحده. So which I advise that we listen to the previous lesson before we further with this. So after the Imam started with a brief introduction as regards to the condemnation, why we should disbelieve in Ṭāghūt, why we should hate Ṭāghūt. After all of that, now he want to go into the definition of Ṭāghūt. Okay, what is Ṭāghūt? The Imam rahmatullahi alayhi, he said, what Ṭāghūt is it āmun, it is a general term used for kullu ma ʿubida min dunillah. It is a general term for anything that is being worshipped beside Allah. He says وَرَضِيَ بِالْعِبَادَةِ, and that which is being worshipped beside Allah is pleased with the worship. So anything that is being worshipped beside Allah and is pleased with the worshipping, it says min ma'budin, is it that which is being worshipped? Is it from the ma'bud, from that which is being worshipped? Is it that they are worshipping him? Aw matbu'in, or they are following him? Aw muta'in, or they are obeying him fi ghayri ta'atillah, in disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa rasulihi, and disobedience of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for hada Ṭāghūt. So automatically, if we look at this definition carefully, we will get to understand that anything that is being worshipped beside Allah, is it ibadah that is done to him, or is it matbu'in, they followed him to disobey the law of Allah, or they obey him in disobeying Allah? Then that or such a person should be Ṭāghūt. So it says for kullu ma ʿubida. Here now we get to know that Ṭāghūt is anything that is being worshipped beside Allah. So the condition here for Ṭāghūt is that that thing is pleased with the worship. So automatically, if you worshiping someone and that person that you are worshiping is condemning that which you are doing, you see automatically then the person is not Ṭāghūt. That person becomes Ṭāghūt if he is pleased with the worshiping that is taking place, or that his people are carrying, or that his people are doing. If they are worshipping him and he is pleased with that, that automatically becomes Ṭāghūt. This condition now will make us to understand clearly, because somebody will take this definition and place it on the Malaika. He say, what about the angels? Meaning automatically they are Ṭāghūt because they have been worshipped, or people worship them beside Allah. Then we'll say it, are they pleased with that? Are they pleased with that? Of course they are not pleased with that. So those who worship Malaika, are the Malaika pleased with that? Since the Malaika are not pleased with that, then they are not Ṭāghūt. Somebody will ask that then Nabi Isa will be Ṭāghūt, A'udhu Billah. And the fact is that because people worship him, the Christians, they worship him. Then we said, no, he is not. Why? Because he is not pleased with the worshipping. So this is the condition of Ṭāghūt, that anything that is being worshipped beside Allah, is that all? No. He said, وَرَضِيَ بِالْعِبَادَةِ. That particular thing is pleased with the worshipping. As far as he's pleased with the worshipping, then it becomes Ṭāghūt. If he's not pleased with it, then he is not. And Nabi Isa عليه salam called for Tawḥīd. He called for Tawḥīd. He called for the worshipping of Allah alone. So many places in the Qur'an. So it can be Ṭāghūt if he is worshipped beside Allah. It can be Ṭāghūt if he is being followed, muta', is being followed beside Allah. It can be Ṭāghūt if he is being obeyed in disobedience of Allah. So you should mark all of this. So this is the meaning of Ṭāghūt, that Imam said, what Ṭāghūt? He said, عَامٌ فَكُلُّ مَا عُبِدَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَرَضِيَ بِالْعِبَادَةِ. He said, مِن مَعْبُودٍ أَوْ مَتْبُوعٍ أَوْ مُطَاعٍ في غير طاعة الله ورسوله. He said, فهو Ṭāghūt. He now said, okay, after knowing the definition of Tawḥīd and of Ṭāghūt, there is need that we know the types of Ṭāghūt. He now said, what Ṭāwaghītu kathiratun. You see, this Ṭāwaghīt we just define now, they are much. Even based on the definition, you can see that they are much. So you know the definition now, then you'll be able to know what or who is a Ṭāghūt. So the Imam says they are much. He said, وَالطَّوَاغِيتُ كَثِيرَةٌ. He said, وَرُؤُوسُهُمْ خَمْسَةٌ. But their leaders, they are 5. You see, the leaders of the Ṭāwaghīt, they are how many? They are 5. If not, they are much. There are many, but their leaders, they are ru'asa, they are 5. So now he's going to start mentioning them one after the other. He says, al-awwalu, the first of them, he says, Shayṭān. The first of Ṭāghūt is Shayṭān. So this is the first from those that are pushing people from the ways of Allah. And that is why he is the first Ṭāghūt. And he is the first of the leader. He is the first that is mentioned. He is the one that is mentioned first among the ru'asa, because it's the ainin Ṭāghūt. Shayṭān keep on telling you, ukfur, disbelief. This is what keep on pushing you away from the deen of Allah. فَلَمَّا كَفَرَ قَالَ إِنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِنْكَ وَمِمَّا تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. It tells you to disbelieve in Allah. By the time you disbelieve in Allah, he turns back away from you and he said, I have no concern with you. So Shayṭān is from the first of what? Ṭāghūt. So this Shayṭān here is a general term, just like Shaykh Fawzān made mention. Shayṭān itself, and it can come down to be Shayṭān from the human and the Shayṭān from the jinn. You know, Shayṭān from the women and from the man, from man, that is Shayṭān, Shayatīnul Ins. These are those people that, you know, take people away from the path of Allah, and they try to make them disbelieve in Allah. You have them from the ins, from the human, and you have them from the jinn. They tell you that your request will not be accepted until you do this, and that which you will be asked to do are things that will take you out of Islam. They are things that are kufr. So you should know now that this term Shayṭān is generally for the Shayṭān itself, and then for the Shayṭān or the Shayateen of al-Ins and the Shayateen of al-Jinn. He now said, الشيطان الداعي, he said, إلى عبادة غير الله. A shaitan that calls or that invites to the worshipping of other things beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is from the first of the Ṭāwaghīt. وَالدَّلِيلُ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى. From the habit of the Shaykh is that anything is stated, try to escort it with evidence. He said the evidence for that which he has said is Alam ahad ilaykum ya bani Adam. Alam ahad ilaykum. Haven't I warned you? Haven't I warned you, O you children of Adam? أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا الشَّيْطَانِ, that you shouldn't worship Shaytan. You see, by following Shaytan in disobeying Allah, it is considered as you worshipping Shaytan. He says, إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ, that he is a clear enemy. He, Shaytan, to you is a clear enemy. I read one benefit from the Sharh of Shaykh Fawzān, حفظه الله, and is a benefit that is really touching. May Allah keep preserving us upon khair. May Allah preserve us upon the deen, upon Tawḥīd. That he said that any disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a ta'ah to Shaytan. Any sin you committed, disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is considered as what? Ta'ah to Shaytan. And look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, Alam ahad ilaykum ya bani Adama an la ta'budu Shaytan. It says, Innahu lakum aduwwun mubin. So any sin or ma'asiyah that will fall in, it is a ta'ah to Shaytan. Generally, get it clearly like that. Then we will now come down to make tafsil based on the way Shaykh make the tafsil in his sharh. He said then you will now get to understand, but it is not all of the ta'ah to Shaytan that will lead you out of Islam. You see, every sin is obedience to Shaytan, but not every sin that will take you out of Islam. And that is why there is need we read books of Shaykh Muḥammad bin Abdul Wahhāb al-Imam with the commentary of the scholars. Because even the Boko Haram will come and they will be quoting from the book of Shaykh of al-Imam, and they try to, give it meaning that suits their wrong ideology, not according to what the scholars said. Do you see that? So, every sin, and all of us, we commit sin. So is it every sin that will take us out of Islam? No. Not even from the kaba'ir. It's not every kaba'ir that will take someone out of Islam. And that is why someone will fall into kaba'ir, just like Hasan al-Basri was asked about someone who fell into kaba'ir. Is he a Muslim or is a kafir? What is he going to? Is he a Muslim or is going to hellfire? Is he going to Jannah or khalas is going to hell? And his response was that someone that fall into kaba'ir, fall into the major sins, is still a Muslim, but asin, a Muslim that is a sinner. Muslim that is a sinner. And that is how comes about this creed called Mu'tazila. This Wasil ibn Atā from the student of Hassan al-Basri. He challenged Hassan al-Basri and he said, no. Anyone that fall into sin from the kabair, that person is neither a Muslim nor a kafir. That person is in manzila bayna manzilatain. Is neither a Muslim nor a kafir. And if he dies, then he's going to be in the hell forever. He's going to be in the hell abadan, forever. And this is how comes he now disassociate himself from his shaykh. And that is why they were called Mu'tazila, because they make the i'tizal of themselves. And that is how they started coming with something strange things, that each and every wrong set of people today in the deen of, in the wrong set of people that attributes or that link their ideology to Islam, they have benefited from this particular set, this Mu'tazila, this Mu'tazila. They've benefited from them. Because based on this ideology, they started judging, they started using it to, make hukum on people. And by the time you rule on someone that is not a Muslim, automatically then his blood becomes, according to them, its blood becomes halal to be consumed. And that is how they start killing people. Nas'alullah as-salamata wal afiyah. So, for that we said, every sin that is being committed, it is a ta'ah to Shayṭān. And not every sin that is committed that will lead someone out of the deen. Even among the kaba'ir, is not every kaba'ir that will take someone out of the deen. I hope it is clear. Someone will fall into kaba'ir, which is not from that, which takes someone out of the deen, is a sinner, is still a Muslim and is a sinner. And that is why the scholars of the deen, they are very careful. And these issues of takfir has to be with the scholars. No one should come among the student of knowledge and take these issues of such upon his head, upon himself. These are issues that should be discussed with the scholars. The scholars should be the one to discuss this issue because it's a critical issue. Is issue that is very critical. Now, you see people today, they just tag someone, a Muslim, just all of a sudden they just tag a Muslim a kafir. And that is what this ideology of this takfiriyin, all of this khawarij and all of that, they built their ideology on this. And that is why they are killing the Muslim, they are killing because they believe that these Muslims are not part of them. And this is un-Islamic. Islam is different, and what they are doing is something different. Al-Muhim, let's come back to the book and avoid long explanation. Just like we've mentioned, read from the mat, try to summarize it. We are to go to the shuruh of the shuyukh to read what they've penned down from the fawaid and the shuruhat. He says, الأول الشيطان الداعي إلى عبادة غير الله. He says, والدليل قوله تعالى ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين. Type the number 2. He says what? The Imam says Al-Hakim. He says Al-Hakim from where is the place? He says Al-Hakim Al-Jā'iru المتغير لأحكام الله تعالى. You see, it says al-Hakim. Number 2 from the Ṭāwaghīt is al-Hakim, is the ruler, al-Jā'ir, the wicked ruler, al-Mughayyiru li-ahkami Allah ta'ala, that changes the rulings, the ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Hakim, al-Jā'ir, that change, al-Mutaghayyiru li-ahkami Allah ta'ala, that changes the rulings of Allah when it comes to judgment between people. He used other things beside the hukm of Allah or the ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here, to differentiate between this number 2 and the one that comes after it, so that we don't see them to be the same, even though some of the scholars see them to be similar or the same. But to make them to differentiate between these two things, we need to understand this point. You see, the Arab in those days, they have those that they go to if there is problem between them. Is it problem between husband and wife? Is it a problem between clans? Is it problem between tribes? Is it all form of problem? If there is problem between them, what they do is that they have people that they go to meet, and anything those people said, this is what they build upon. And these people are from the people of these Kohan, people that are this fortune teller or future teller, how did they call them? So this is the reason why the Imam brought this point. And look at from his evidence, which is going to be clear to us. He said, Alam, he said, what dalilu qawluhu ta'ala, the evidence for that is the saying of Allah. He says, Alam tara ila alladhina, he said, yaz'umuna annahum amanu. He says, don't you see, ila alladhina, those people, yaz'umuna, that claim, that is from the munafiqun, that claim that annahum amanu bima unzila ilayk, that they believe in that. They claim that they believe in that is revealed to you, O Muhammad. وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِن قَبْلِكَ, and they believe in that which has been revealed before you, meaning they believe in the books that have been revealed before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They believe in this, but at the same time again, he said, يُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ. But at the same time, they want the Ṭāghūt to judge between them. You see, if really they believe in that which has been revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and that which has been revealed before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if there is anything between them, who should they go to? Is it not Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam during his lifetime? And if he's not there after his death, they go back to the Kitab Allah and the Sunnah of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But what they do, they say they believe in that which has been revealed, which was revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and before him. But at the same time, يُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ. But yet, they want the Ṭāghūt to judge between them. وَقَدْ أُمِرُوا, yet they've been commanded, instructed, and يَكْفُرُوا بِهِ, that they should disbelieve in it, in this Ṭāghūt. At the same time, he said, وَيُرِيدُ Shayṭān. The Shayṭān, his own work all the time is what? أَن يُضِلَّهُمْ. That is, his work is, Shayṭān want to what? يُضِلَّهُمْ, want to mislead them. ضَلَالًا بَعِيدًا. You want to take them far astray. And that is why it diverted them to the Ṭāghūt. أَن يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ. The scholar said, أن يتحاكموا إلى الطاغوت is because the Arab, those days, when there is anything between them, there are people from the fortune tellers, from the future tellers, that give them or that narrate to them, and that they believe in them, and that which they have said is the final, even though that contradicts what comes in the deen of Allah. And that is why scholars differ as regards to this, the meaning of Ṭāghūt, أي أن يتحاكموا إلى الطاغوت. Some of the scholars says that أن يتحاكموا إلى الطاغوت, طاغوت هنا that هو الشيطان. And we know this Shayṭān could be Shayṭān al-Ins, and it could be Shayṭān al-Jinn. So any form of Shayṭān, this is the Shayṭān that they want him to judge between them, even though it contradicts what comes in the deen of Allah. So this is what some of the scholars say. They says أن يتحاكموا إلى الطاغوت, الطاغوت هنا, that is Shayṭān. Some other scholars says no, it is Ka'b bin Ashraf al-Yahudi. Some others now said no, this Ṭāghūt here refers to what al-Kuhan, and that is because the Arab, they believe in these people. Every client, every language, every community, they have someone that they've put in charge of, if there is anything between them, they go to that person and his talk is the final. And these are people that aslan, they invite people to the worshipping of themselves. These are people that are far away from the deen of Allah. These are people that are into shirkiyat. So these are people that judge between them. So this is what the scholars, they said as regards to this the Ṭāghūt in this verse. Ala kullin, this particular point is talking about someone. He said the first one is Shayṭān, and that Shayṭān could be ins, and it could be jinn, and it could be Shayṭān. And the Shayṭān aslan himself is the first of what? The Ṭawaghīt. So the second one is what? Is al-Hakim al-Jāir, the wicked Hakim, the wicked ruler, that his work is to change. You see, it's like exactly like these people that the Arabs do go to in those days for judgment. So if you have a leader that his own work is, this Hakim, his own work is to change the deen of Allah. That is his own struggling, is to change the deen of Allah, to make it look, to change the deen of Allah, to make it look, to make it tally with what he wants. It changing the deen of Allah, the rulings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then such a Hakim has become, or is a what? Is a Ṭaghūt. I hope it is clear. This is the number 2. You see, this second one is a ruler that he always judge between people with that which is contrary to the laws of Allah, is a Ṭaghūt. So that will differentiate between this and the number 3 we are going to read. It now say what? Number 3 is الَّذِي حَكَمَ بِغَيْرِ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ. So that we know the difference. The first one is struggling, is to divert people away from the rulings, the laws of Allah. But this number 3, his own is that is judging بِغَيْرِ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ, with that which is not from what Allah has revealed, meaning is not judging with the deen of Allah. This is also a Ṭaghūt. So generally, just like the scholar says, anyone that is making hukm with, is it this man-made laws and all of that, then such a person, anyone that judge with that, has become a Ṭaghūt. Then the shuyukh, they said with the istisna, that is with the exemption of 2. Exemption of 2. 2 people came. Someone who judge حكم بغير ما أنزل الله, but with ijtihad from himself. That is, it is an ijtihad from himself to see that which came to him to be that is the best of the hukm. He's not doing that based on the fact that he wants to negate the laws of Allah, but he's doing that ijtihadan. So number one, if he is from the people of ijtihad, if he fulfilled the law, the condition of being a mujtahid, then he will be rewarded for that. But if he is not up to that, then he's considered a what? A mukhti. Is considered as a what? A mukhti. Someone who has, make mistake. Someone who has err. So is considered a mukhti. And then the laws of Allah is not something we just know. We have to look for this knowledge, to seek for this knowledge, to be able to rule by it. So this is the first person that is exempted. Someone who judge, who hakam, someone who did the hukm بغير ما أنزل الله اجتهادا is exempted from being a Ṭāghūt. Number two is someone that does that, but deeply inside him, he believes that the laws of Allah is more than what he is doing. So this one is considered a Muslim, but someone that is sin, someone that is in the disobedience of Allah, in the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but is not considered as a what? Ṭāghūt, because he is not doing that willingly. And him involving in that, deeply inside him, he believes that the laws of Allah first. And that is how we should deal with our leaders. We shouldn't follow the path of the Khawarij that will say, you see that leader giving handshake with a woman, and you say he's our leader, is a Khalifa, is a this and that. You don't say this leader, he has said some things that are kufr and all of that. So we already tag him kafir. Then for that we have to wage war against him. These are our leaders. We see them, they go to masjids to pray. We see them when it comes to the things, the festival, the Islamic festivals. You see them, they go to their home, they celebrate the Eid. All this sha'air, the fasting, they involve in all of that. Automatically, these are Muslims. So they fall into what they fell into. Wallahu a'lam, that we need to pray. For one reason or the other, we need to pray for them, that Allah guide them, that Allah make them to come back and be on the real track of the deen. We pray, make good prayer for them. We don't curse them. We don't make bad prayers for them. We make good prayers for them. And it is from the fundamentals of the usul of Ahl Sunnah that they make good prayers for the leaders. And such leaders, we don't make takfir of them, because even despite what they are doing, deeply inside them they believe that the laws of Allah is more than what they are using to rule. And this is because of the condition they found themselves. So such people, they are not considered to be what? Ṭāghūt. So this is a clear rejoinder to those Khawarij that will also come and take from the book of Imam Muhammad ibn al-Wahhāb and causing problem around. So I hope we got these 2 points now. The first one is a hakim, that his own work is that is calling to the destruction of Islam. But this other one is ruling with other things beside Islam at the same time. And is ruling with other things beside Islam, is making his hukm with other things beside the deen of Allah. And then we say this person, if he does that ijtihadan, is not a Ṭāghūt. Or he does that he does that based on the condition he found himself, but deeply inside him he believed that the laws of Allah is on top of everything, then this is also not a Ṭāghūt, is not considered a Ṭāghūt. I hope it is clear. So he said, الثالث الذي حكم بغير ما أنزل الله, someone who has make hukm, judgment. He says بغير ما, someone that has rule, that has judge. He says بغير ما أنزل الله, with that which is not revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is also considered as a Ṭāghūt. And this is what we just explained now. He said, وَالدَّلِيلُ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى, the evidence as regards that is the saying of Allah. So they said, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ, anyone who didn't make his hukm بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ, based on that which Allah has revealed, he says, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ, for such people are from the kuffar, or they are the kuffar. You see, this verse now is what the scholars they discuss, and this is what we've mentioned in the explanation. So generally, anyone that judge, that make hukm with that which is not what Allah revealed, is a kafir or a fasik or zalim, based on the different verses that came in the Qur'an. These are as regards to those that are pushing people away from the laws of Allah intentionally. So this verse is referring those that are pushing people away from the laws of Allah intentionally. But someone that does all of that, deeply inside him is not what he intended, and yet he believes in the law, that the laws of Allah is on top of any other law, then such people are exempted from this. This is the number 3. Number 4, he says الرابع, he says الذي يدعي علم الغيب من دون الله, anyone that has claimed to know the unseen beside Allah, such a person is a Ṭāghūt. And you can see this now, you see many of these people from the path of Tariqah, you see them, they're scholars, these people, they claim to be wali, that they tell the people what is to happen or what is going to happen. These are from the Ṭawaghīt. They tell people that they know the al-Ghayb, they know the knowledge of the unseen. So anybody that calls for that automatically is calling people to worship him, and is giving himself the quality of the Almighty. Is giving himself the quality of the Almighty, just like we are going to read from the verse. He says, وَالدَّلِيلُ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى, the evidence for that is the saying of Allah. It says, عَالِمُ الْغَيْبِ, Allah is the knower of the unseen, al-Ghayb. He says, فَلَا يُظْهِرُ عَلَى غَيْبِهِ أَحَدًا, Allah never make this knowledge of Ghayb possible on any other one. His knowledge of Ghayb, Allah never make it possible on anyone to see what is unseen, to see the Ghayb. He says, إِلَّا, except man irtada, except he that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with, that Allah make him to see one or two things. He said, min rasulin, from the messengers. He said, فَإِنَّهُ يَسْلُكُ مِنْ بَيْنِ يَدَيْهِ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِ رَصَدًا. Yet, when Allah is revealing the secret, the Ghayb to him, he said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that to him with what? Rasada, with observer that would keep protecting the messenger and the message itself. He said, min khalfihi, min bayni yadayhi wa min khalfihi, being protected from this observer, being protected from behind and from in front and from behind. The message is protected, and the one the knowledge is heading to is also protected, that it will only pass from him to him. So where are those that claim to have the knowledge of the unseen? So this is from the Ṭawaghīt. He said, وَقَالَ تَعَالَى, and Allah also said, وَعِنْدَهُ مَفَاتِيحُ الْغَيْبِ, that Allah alone have the keys. He didn't say miftah, he said mafatih. Allah alone has the keys of the Ghayb. لا يعلمها إلا هو. No one knows the unseen except Allah. Where are those wali that claim to know the unseen? You should ask yourself now, are they really preaching Islam? Where are those men in the village, in the remote area, that are calling people? In fact, before you reach, they already start telling you your problem. And you now see some Muslims believing in that which this man that just a halaka of recent, this TB Joshua, what do they call him? What he's calling to? Someone that claims to know the unseen. Before you come, he tells you your problem and all of that. You believe in all of that. Where is your iman? Where is your belief in the kitab of Allah? Where is your belief in the sunnah of the Rasul? Allah is telling you, وَعِنْدَهُ مَفَاتِيحُ الْغَيْبِ. He said, لَا يَعْلَمُهَا إِلَّا هُ. It's only him that has the knowledge, the key of the knowledge of the Ghayb and the unseen. He said, they are just tricking us, kidding us, turning us to fools on a daily basis. And people will still be fooled, and these are the kind of people that they want to be running to whenever they have problem. The sincere scholars that will tell them that which is good for them, they will never go to them. Those people that will be tricking them, playing with them, eating their money, zulman, these are the kind of people that they prefer to go to. A Muslim comes to you, tell him that, you say pray for him, and you pray for him that may Allah protect him, may Allah guide him instantly. Or you tell him to go and pray for himself. You see that to be as though he has done nothing. But when you go to someone and the person starts telling you that I know your problem, and he starts tabling some things to you, based on the jinn that is worshipping, that is bringing some kind of information to him, after he has instructed him to embark on some kind of shirkiyat, and he will tell you now, I know your problem, you have to kill white ram. Among the Muslims, telling you, Muslim scholar telling you to kill white ram or bring white birds that has no black on it, or black bird that has no white, and all of that. You have to run 440 from such kind of people. If not, you will end up pushing yourself to destruction, that you end up regretting your life forever and ever. Nas'alullah salamata wal afiyah. See, the knowledge of Ghayb is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, لَا يَعْلَمُهَا إِلَّا هُ. No one knows it except Him, Allah, except He, Allah. He said, وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that knows that which is in the land, which is on the land, and that which is the one which is in the land, and that which is in the sea. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that knows. He said, وَمَا تَسْقُطُ مِنْ وَرَقَةٍ إِلَّا يَعْلَمُهَا. In fact, there is no leaf that drop down from its tree, except that Allah knows about it. He said, وَلَا حَبَّةٍ فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْأَرْضِ. In fact, there is no seed that is in the darkness of the earth, buried in the earth and then in the ground. He says, except Allah knows. He says, وَلَا رَطْبٍ. There is nothing that is moist. وَلَا يَابِسٍ. And there is nothing that is dry. He says, إِلَّا. Both the moist and the dry. He says, إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ. Except that is being recorded in the book of record. Meaning it is in the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So after reading all of these verses, will you ever in your life believe that someone, even among the so-called Muslims that are into all of these acts, that are calling people to kufr, to shirkiyat, will you even believe that someone like TB Joshua and the likes They do. Someone among the Muslims, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, tell you how far the Muslims are from the deen of Allah. He says, how comes will such a man die? That no, is not yet dead. That is living, is watching. He believed deeply inside him that TB Joshua is someone that will never die. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Allahu musta'an. نسأل الله السلامة والعافية. طيب, you say al-khamis, number 5, which is the last one from the 5 that the Imam brought out. He said, الذي يعبد من دون الله. You see, that's person that is being worshipped beside Allah. He said, وهو راض بالعبادة, and he is pleased with the ibadah. Then that a person has become Ṭāghūt, or that person is a Ṭāghūt. Someone that is being worshipped beside Allah. You see some so-called Malams today, they are worshippers. They said they believe in them. In fact, without them believing in this awliya, believing in Allah alone without this awliya is as useless as anything. Subhanallah. These are talks that comes out from the mouth of some ignorant Muslims. They believe that these awliya are the ones that protect them when they are sleeping. They are waking up. If they get job, it is the awliya that has provided the job for them. They are falling, they prefer calling him. If they want to invoke, they invoke him other than Allah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And some of them will be telling their followers, they'll be laughing or they'll be smiling, they'll be happy without telling them that no, you should invoke Allah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He says, الذي يعبد من دون الله وهو راض بالعبادة. He said, وَالدَّلِيلُ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى. He said, وَمَنْ يَقُلْ مِنْهُمْ إِنِّي إِلَهٌ مِنْ دُونِهِ فَذَلِكَ نَجْزِيهِ جَهَنَّمْ. Anyone amongst them that have said that I, إِنِّي إِلَهٌ, that I am Allah, مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ, apart from Allah, he says, فَذَلِكَ نَجْزِيهِ جَهَنَّمَ. For that person his reward is going to be the Jahannam, is going to be in Jahannam, meaning it's going to be in hellfire. He said, كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِ الظَّالِمِينَ. That is how we are going to reward the Zalimeen. Surah Al-Anbiya. After this, the Imam now says, وَعْلَمْ, you should know, أَنَّ الْإِنسَانَ, that verily human being, لا يصير, a person, لا يصير مؤمنا, someone cannot be a believer, بالله, a truly believer in Allah, إلا بالكفر بالطاغوت, until and when you disbelieve in Ṭāghūt. Just take a look at these 5 things that we've mentioned and then examine yourself. Shaykh Fawzān arranged them like this. He said these 5 things. Number 1 is what? Among them, number 1 is, the first of them is what? Iblis. La'natullahi alayhi. Number 2 is what? وَمَنْ عُبِدَ وَهُوَ رَاضٍ. Someone that is being worshipped and is pleased with that. He said number 3, وَمَنْ دَعَى النَّاسِ إِلَى عِبَادَةِ نَفْسِهِ. Someone who invite people to the worshipping of himself. He said number 3, وَمَنْ ادَّعَى عِلْمَ الْغَيْبِ. Someone who call for the knowledge of the unseen. And also number 3, وَمَنْ حَكَمَ بِغَيْرِ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ. Someone that has make hukm based on that which is not from what Allah says. And here you can see a lot of people that have gone far to study this book. They go far to study this Western education, especially those that go outside. They go to the Western world to study. And they come, they try to see how they make Islam suit this present situation. Yahi. make the situation, make the present situation suit, make it to, yani make them to understand Islam, instead of you trying to make Islam to, yani to modernize Islam according to the way the generation is. The deen of Allah, everybody want to talk. You see how on Facebook some writers, some journalists will just start making some kind of noise. The best for you, just for you to remain silent. Don't even talk in the deen of Allah. That is better for you than to talk based on ignorance, and you are talking in the most important aspect of the deen, talking about Islam. So someone among the writers, journalists, praying and praising TB Joshua and all of that. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Where is your iman? And all of these, this Boko Akida kind of people, they do all of this just to praise, to make people satisfied with them, just to get the praises from people, just for people to be pleased with them. If that is what you build on top, you build yourself on, or you build what you are calling your da'wah upon, you should know that a day will come that you will bite your finger, and you will regret. And you will regret following or expecting the praises of all of these people. These people, they have no reward to give to you. If they praise you and say your Islam is the best, you are even causing more harm to yourself. Because a Christian should be praising your own Islam is the best. Because the Muslims, some of the Muslims are so harsh. They don't want us to live together. Subhanallah. Do you know what you're doing? Trying to make people to see those practicing the real Islam. You try to make them see them to be something else. And that which you brought, or that which you are doing is right Islam. Why you know that you are a big ignorant, anta jahilun murakkabun. When you know that, must you talk in the deen of Allah? On the Christmas day, you wish Christians Merry Christmas. You go to churches and claim to be Islam said you should lā ikrāha fid dīn. Have you ever once asked yourself the meaning of lā ikrāha fid dīn? What have the scholars said about that? Allahu musta'an. Do you know that some of the scholars, they said lā ikrāha fid dīn here means that these verses, they say this verse, some of the scholars, they say this verse came, and the verses of jihad came after this verse and negate this verse. Have you ever studied what is known as nasikh wa mansukh in your deen? Do you even know anything about the book of Allah? Just dooming people that are following you, the thousands that are following you, dooming them into danger. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Some of the scholars says lā ikrāha fid dīn. This is referring to the Ahl al-Kitab from the Yahud and the Nasara. And they said, with the condition that they give their jizya and they honor the laws of Islam. So based on that, they are to live within the Muslims, and they will not be forced to enter Islam. Some of the scholars says the meaning of lā ikrāha fid dīn, because I'm teaching you, you need to know your religion. That lā ikrāha fid dīn, it means this, even the Ahlul Kitab, that is the parents, they've taken Islam, they've accepted Islam, and that they want to make it compulsory for their children to accept the Islam. And that is why as they are forcing them, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it known to them that lā ikrāha fid dīn. Nas'alullah as-salamata wal afiyah. طيب. He says, وَالدَّلِيلُ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى ومن يقل منهم إني إله من دونه فذلك نجزيه جهنم كذلك نجزي الظالمين. الأنبياء. He says وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَا يَصِيرُ مُؤْمِنًا بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا بِكُفْرِ بِالطَّاغُوتِ. That someone will not be a complete mu'min billah, a complete believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, until he do kufr bit-Tawghūt, until he disbelieve in Tawghūt. What dalilu قوله ta'ala, the evidence is the saying of Allah, لا إكراه في الدين. There is no compulsion in the religion. This is what we've explained. He said, قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدُ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. He said the rushd has been clearly distinguished, separated from the ghayy. He's going to explain rushd and he's going to explain ghayy. So, he said, for man, you see, rushd is the deen of Muhammad, that is al-Islam. Al-Ghayb is the deen of Abi Jahl, that is kufr. So, لا إكراه في الدين, that قد تبين الرشد من الغي. The deen, the Islam has been separated, distinguished from the kufr, from the religion other than Islam. He said, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ. Anyone that disbelieves in Ṭāghūt, وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ, and he believes in Allah, he said, فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ, for that person has really hold a what? A cable. Al-wuthqa, a very strong cable. لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا, that never break, that never cuts. Say, Wallahu sami'un alim. Allah is ever hearing and ever knowing. He now come down to say what? Ar-rushd. What is al-rushd? It's a deen Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. What is al-ghayy? It's a deen Abi Jahl. You now say what? Al-urwatu al-wuthqa. All of these terms are used in the verse. It says shahadatu an la ilaha illallah. It says what urwatu al-wuthqa is the shahada la ilaha illallah. Kalimatu shahada, that is la ilaha illallah. It says wa hiya mutadamminatun lin-nafi wal-ithbat. That la ilaha illallah contains two things. The first one is what? Nafi. The second one is what? Ithbat, meaning negating and what? Confirming. It's the what la ilaha illallah is, it negates any form or any thing that is being worshipped beside Allah. You know, say well ithbat, and then it confirms that all of the ibadah should be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. He said tanfi jami'a anwa' al-ibadah. He said it because it is what? وهي متضمنة للنفي والإثبات. Okay, نفي ماذا؟ وإثبات ماذا؟ You say what? نفي أي تنفي جميع أنواع العبادة عن غير الله. It negates anything that is worship apart from Allah. You say what? تثبت جميع أنواع العبادة كلها لله, and it confirms all form of ibadah that it should be for Allah وحده, He alone, لا شريك له, without ascribing partner to Him. So like this we've come to the end of the book of Ma'na al-Ṭāghūt. So now ask yourself and then watch carefully with those people you go to meet, and you table your request to them. Just mind yourself, read the book carefully, know your religion, and the salama for yourself is for you to remain silent. You don't talk in the deen of Allah with ignorancy. نسأل الله السلامة والعافية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.